It's time for Around the Ozarks News, brought to you by the Springfield-Greene County Park Board, Blue Current, and Thompson Sales. Here are your hosts, Ethan and Sarah Foreheads.
How's it going? It is Sarah Foreheads and Diana Tyndall again today. Ethan is still gone. So thank you, Diana, for joining us. I'm so glad you are here.
You bet. Happy to fill in. As Ethan would say, let's get to some news.
There you go.
Let me try it again
today.
Let's get to some news.
Right? I know, right? You need some baritone in your voice.
Yeah, which I don't have. So today is the day. It is the deadline to get registered to vote for the November election. So do that. The Secretary of State's office has been busy. Some 4 million Missourians are registered right now, an increase of about 200,000 from the midterm election in 2022. So you can register to vote online through the mail or by going in person to your county clerk's office today by 5 p.m., which is when their offices close. So
today's the day.
Hustle up. And with that, litigation is underway. Mail-in voting has been challenged already. Is that even a surprise? I just feel like from the last election, it's on everybody's radar. But many Republicans have filed suit for mailing in ballots, laying the groundwork for potential challenges to the election's outcome. Democrats are also waging legal fights as well to ensure all the votes are counted. So
it's interesting. I don't like the mail-in voting. We've already discussed this, but I mean, it was new with COVID, basically. I mean, not absentee. This is not absentee. This is mail-in voting. You literally know years in advance what day election day is.
Yeah, I remember your rant on it.
Make a plan to be there. You know what I mean? And I have a degree in poli-sci. Like, this is what you do. The judges know, the counters know, like, you're going to be there. This is how it works. This is how the system works to maintain integrity so that both sides feel good about the integrity of the system.
Exactly. And I think you hit on such a good point. I think both sides are like, we want a fair election.
Yeah.
We want it to be fair.
Yeah,
I mean,
for sure.
That's what everybody wants.
That's part of the beauty of America.
Democracy, right?
Yeah, there you go. All right. Many Florida residents, the other big story, other than the election, of course.
Yeah.
And we'll see what happens with the election, by the way, because of the weather. In fact, before we move on, let me say this. A friend of mine just moved to Nashville, so she has to change her voter registration. She stood in line for hours yesterday to do that at the post office in her new city. Wow. But it was interesting because she said that some of the hurricane people were there saying, like, there's no way that we're going to be voting by November. And so we need to see what we can do to get a ballot, get a transfer, whatever, whatever that process would look like. They were there to stand in line, ask questions, get a form if they could. So isn't that interesting?
That is fascinating. I hadn't even thought about the impact of the hurricane with voting. Oh my goodness.
Absolutely. Because it's 5 states, 5 states. I mean, that's pretty significant, so anyway, okay. Well, from elections to hurricanes, a lot of Florida residents, specifically in Tampa, are under mandatory evacuation orders right now. State leaders were pulling no punches. They said, if you don't leave, you will not survive. So pretty strong words.
Yeah.
Hurricane Milton is on course to hit possibly overnight tonight. And it has bounced from a 5 to a 4. We'll see, that is kind of ever evolving, but utility crews from Springfield are there. Convoy of Hope is there, both staged right outside the hurricane zone to be able to move in as soon as they can.
Wow.
Yeah, it's crazy.
It's a mess. I just had to cancel. I was going to go with some girlfriends and we were going to go to Asheville. And obviously that is just a mess out there. And, in your mind, you think, how fast can they get this turned around to where this doesn't mess up my plans? But then I'm like, oh my gosh, their whole world has just gone upside down. So yeah, just heartbreaking.
And at the same time, they need you because
I know.
that's right. Asheville is a pretty touristy area, isn't it?
Yeah.
I've not been to
Yeah,
Asheville,
because
but I
the
know.
Biltmore is there, this
Yeah.
huge, beautiful mansion, but that flooded. I mean,
Yeah.
it's flooded. So
Ugh.
they have a huge Chihuly exhibit I was looking forward to seeing. He's a beautiful glass sculptor. If you haven't seen his stuff, it's amazing. But it's just heartbreaking because it hurts their revenue. But at the same time, I feel like I would be in the way,
Right.
and you couldn't get to places.
Yeah.
So who
Well,
knows?
it's a mess. And Missouri Task Force 1, you know that they were there. They are still there. Typically, it's 2 weeks on and then they come home. But in this case, they say the damage on the southeast coast is anything but typical. So crews are switching out if needed for rest. And then the other team members are continuing to do welfare checks in the homes of people who really were not prepared, because typically the hurricane, the first one, does not hit this far inland, speaking of Asheville. So now they're going to relocate Missouri Task Force 1 to be able to respond in Florida after Hurricane Milton moves through.
Wow. Well, moving on to this, I think this is good news. If you live in the Springfield Public School District, the school bus service could be very well expanding. Right now, school buses pick up kids who live 1.5 miles from the school building they attend. It soon could change to only 1 mile for students to ride. This change would be in effect for next school year, and maybe cut down on the distances these kids have to walk or bike. We live pretty close to my son's school, and he rides the bus, but he has to cross over a pretty busy intersection. And I think that's why we get bus service.
Right. There's always, some caveats depending on the infrastructure, I guess, around the school.
Well, and I feel like it's a little safer too. It allows kids to kind of have that safety and component,
For sure. Yeah, I feel that way, and I ride a bicycle. And
right.
Sometimes I'm like, I would be safer in a car crossing, not on my bike. Yeah.
Right.
So.
Right.
All right. Well, you are familiar with the Spirit Halloween store, right? You see those pop up.
Yeah.
They're like normally in empty retail spaces, Anyway, and they're popular around Halloween time, and apparently it is working out for Halloween. So now they are going to venture into some other holidays. The owners are going to be opening what's called Spirit Christmas. So there you go.
One spirit to another.
The market to see if it works in 10 cities. Most of the stores will be in the Northeast to start with, and they will sell, Christmas apparel, decorations, stocking stuffers, very similar to a Spirit Halloween store, but a different spirit. Let's just say that.
Yeah.
Totally
I was going to say from one spirit to another.
There you go. So we'll see if one comes to Springfield before too long. But again, they're going to test it elsewhere to see if it's successful first.
Right. Sounds good. Okay. So I guess there's a contest, right?
There's a contest. We will end with that. Our contest is ongoing. We'll let you know who wins on Friday. But until then, go to aroundtheozarks.com and click on contest, and you will see the Branson Bowl. And we are giving away tickets right now to the November 4th Chiefs game happening at Arrowhead versus Tampa Bay. Awesome. So if you want to go to that game live in person, you are going to need the keyword.
Oh, the keyword is trolleys.
There you
go. We said it yesterday. We're saying it again today. Trolleys.
That's the keyword this week, trolleys. You'll have to type that in to prove that you're watching ATO.
We should have thrown it in the middle of our broadcast too, because I feel like throwing it in the middle, because people can just fast forward.
Right.
And just the keyword and not hear the rest of the news that's so important for them to know.
It is very important to know that there's another store coming to town, and that bus service is being expanded.
Exactly.
So yes, there you go. It's going to be a great game. And if you want free tickets, you need to play, because somebody's going to win on Friday, and we will let you know on Friday morning.
All right. Well, good luck.
Okay. Thanks for joining us. Thank you, Diana. And we hope to see you back here tomorrow morning.
You're welcome, and have a great day. Bye.
See ya.
It's time for Around the Ozarks Wake Up Weather, sponsored by Rescue Towing, Command Family Medicine, and John's Heating and Air. Here's your host, meteorologist Abby Dyer.
Good morning, everyone, and welcome to your Wednesday Mid-40s out there this morning. A little bit chilly. Grab a jacket, long sleeve shirt as you head out the door. You won't need it later. Temperatures will warm up a little bit more today than what we've been experiencing so far this week. And I'm going for a high temperature of 80 degrees here in Springfield. That comes along with full sunshine and winds that remain pretty light for us across the area today. So overall, nice conditions and quiet again for much of the Midwest as high pressure is well in control of our weather pattern. No measurable rain for us, not just today, but for the rest of the work week forecast through the weekend and even into next week. Rain really hard to come by. So the dry areas across the Ozarks are going to expand. We're going to see the drought conditions get a bit worse here in the next couple of weeks. High pressure is firmly in control of our weather pattern. And of course, all eyes are down in the Gulf and down in the state of Florida as Hurricane Milton is barreling toward the United States. Yet another landfall for the U.S. expected as we head into the very late hours tonight and early hours of Thursday morning. In comparison, our weather is just so quiet. That storm system not expected to impact the Ozarks at all. Slightly warmer conditions today. I mentioned that. I think we will see some 80s dot the map later today. So nice overall if you want to head outdoors. It should be a nice day to do that. Warmer and drier than normal. And these conditions look to continue through the middle of the month. October really off to a warm and dry start, and we are going to see more where that came from. The long-range charts and predictions from the Climate Prediction Center show that these above-average temperatures and below normal rain chances look to continue for much of the Midwest, not just us here in the Ozarks, but there will be a widespread region in the center of the country that's just going to stay rain-free, which may mean that fire weather conditions get a little bit worse over the next couple of weeks. We'll be monitoring that. Typically, it is the fall season for much of the Ozarks where we see our fire weather conditions upward tick a little bit. We have the dry ground, of course, all the falling leaves that can make things worse as well. And then breezy conditions. If those develop with the low relative humidity, any fire that gets going has the potential to take off very quickly. So that's something that I'll be on high alert for here in the coming weeks with such warm temperatures in place. Today in Springfield, I think we make it to 80. We'll see nice, cool temperatures again this evening. It cools off nicely this time of the year. These October nights falling back into the upper 40s and low 50s for the start of the day on Thursday. And then we see the temperatures warm a little bit more. In fact, we may be in the upper 80s again by Friday with low temperatures falling back into the 50s. Info on Hurricane Milton. Well, it told you that it's expected to hit very late tonight into the early morning hours of Thursday and after dark landfall, which can be incredibly dangerous. I saw a lot of stories on the national news yesterday about evacuations, and it does appear that most are heeding the warnings on the west coast of Florida, but the storm surge is set to be just brutal with storm surge anywhere from 12 to 20 feet for miles inland. It will be life-threatening to the state of Florida, and catastrophic winds will come along with that. Horrible flooding conditions happening and expecting it down in Florida. So we'll be thinking about everybody down there. No impacts, as I mentioned, are expected for the Ozarks or much of Missouri or Kansas. In fact, we don't even have rain in our forecast. Milton is going to take the national news headlines. And of course, we are still cleaning up from Helene. So it is a bad state of affairs down for the southeast with heavy rain, flooding, and damage from that storm. I am expecting that we continue to watch this storm system. The good news with Milton is that once it moves out over the state of Florida, it's actually going to move out into the open water. So it's not expected to curve and hit the United States again. We wish it wouldn't even do that one time, but we're going to be watching that storm for sure in the coming hours. Still some changes possible to the track, but it looks like impact will be anywhere from Tampa to Sarasota. All right, it's time for the Around the Ozarks Wake Up Weather Brain Twister Trivia Question of the Day. The question that I left you with yesterday. An important question here. What is the least common M&M color? The options that I gave you were A, green, B, yellow, C, blue, or D, brown. And to me, I always feel like I always have all brown. in my packs, but I guess I just must be imagining that because D is one of the least common colors along with red. They only show up about 13% of the time. The most common M&M color, they produce the most blue. I didn't know they did these at different rates, but apparently that is true. Blue is the highest. Orange is the second highest. Green is the third. I feel like those are the colors everybody likes. And then they reduce colors for yellow, red, and brown, but brown and red are only 13% of the time. Congrats if D, brown, was your guess. All right, here's the question that I'll leave you with for tomorrow. Which animal never sleeps? Do you think it is A, the bullfrog, B, the walrus, C, the ant, or D, the horse? Which one never sleeps? You can submit your guess. That's at aroundtheozarks.com. Thank you so much to our sponsors, Rescue Towing, Command Family Medicine, and John's Heating and Air. And thank you for listening to Around the Ozarks Wake Up Weather with me this morning. I hope you have a fantastic day. Even though it's chilly right now, we'll see the sunshine and a high temp of 80. And then we'll kind of rinse and repeat and do it all over again tomorrow. Thanks for listening. We'll chat again early tomorrow.